Hey everybody, Larry Lawton here. I got a good video for you today. It is the 10 biggest bank robberies of all time. And you know, when I was going through these, there was a lot of similarities into robberies that I committed. I'm going to go into it on that end as well. Before I get started, please check me on YouTube member program, Discord, Patreon. Please check the book, Gangster Redemption. Crazy ride. People are loving it everywhere, as they should. All right, everybody. So I'm going to go down these robberies, give you a brief summary of it, and then go into it a little bit more detail of what I know. First of all, the number 10, the Dunbar armored robbery. The Dunbar armored truck stolen $18.9 million. In 1997, 6 men pulled off what remains the biggest cash heist in the United States history. This is United States, this one. The leader was Alan Pace, who turned out to be the worst safety inspector the Dunbar Armored Trucking Company ever employed. He was an employee using inside jobs. Pace timed the security cameras at the Dunbar facility in Los Angeles so he could avoid them, and recruited 5 childhood friends to help him rob the vault. They broke in, assaulted 2 guards on their lunch breaks, and loaded $18.9 million into a U-Haul. They almost got away with it, except one robber got sloppy and lent some of the stolen cash to a friend without removing the original cash strap. It's kind of funny how you get caught, all that cash, and they got away with it pretty much, but you get somebody like this who gives something away. And the reason I want to say it, when I robbed jewelry stores, when we took our jewelry to where we get rid of it, every single little tag on every piece of jewelry was burned, incinerated. So that couldn't have happened if it was somebody like myself doing that kind of robbery. Obviously, they got away with it. They recruited 5 friends. You know, now you think about it. How would you have to be recruited for something like this, and then now you're in jail? But that was a crazy, that was 1997 robbery. Pretty wild. Number 9, stolen $30 million. The United California bank heist. Emilio Dinisio's crew dynamited their way into the vault. This is a long time ago. In 1972, Emilio Dinisio, a professional criminal from Ohio, assembled a gang of 6 robbers and flew them to California. They rented a townhouse and planned a heist on a bank where they had mistakenly heard President Richard Nixon kept a multi-million-dollar slush fund. The crew dynamited their way into the vault, stole $30 million worth of cash and valuables, and fled after meticulously scrubbing down the townhouse. The cops eventually identified the robbers through a generous tip they'd given a taxi driver, and through fingerprints found on the inside of the townhouse's dishwasher. So they did not scrub the townhouse well enough. Let me tell you how meticulous I was. When we used to rob jewelry stores around the country, I would stay in a hotel. We would literally wipe down every part. We wouldn't even go into a certain area of the place, so we knew we didn't have to wipe it down. The vehicles, everything we did were wiped down tremendously. It was just totally, it was like a scrub party. So you could never get into that hotel room and find a fingerprint of any one of us, period. No way, not impossible. And I made sure of that, obviously. And they gave a pretty good tip to a, I guess, taxi driver, back now to be an Uber driver. But that's crazy, 1972. And that's when, you know, the technology wasn't as good, so you got to give them a lot of credit. Dynamiting their way into a vault. Man, some ingenuity. People, you know, criminals they have a lot of ingenuity. Number 8, the British Bank of the Middle East robbery. The thieves stole cash, gold bars, and valuables in 1976. Then Lebanon was in the midst of a civil war. A group of robbers decided to cash in on the confusion. In one of the most brazen robberies of all time, the group used explosives to burst through the wall of a Catholic church and enter the neighboring British Bank of the Middle East. They brought with them professional locksmiths to crack open the vault. The robbers made off with $44.5 million in cash, stocks, gold bars, jewels, and other valuables. None of the loot was recovered, and no one was arrested. Today, the stolen goods are worth more than 3 times their value, so they're worth $120 million. Listen, nobody got arrested. Wow, you know, when I read those are the ones that I think people do get away with these things. And, you know, I know this is going to sound bad on this channel because, you know, I don't support crime at all, of course. But if you're going to do it right and do it big. Drives me crazy when I see people get 25 years for robbing a 7-Eleven. Hello? Obviously drug dealers, drug addicts, or whatever it is. Number 7, the Northern Bank robbery. Thieves forced the bank managers to let them into the vault after hours. Stolen $41 million. The week before Christmas 2004, robbers in Belfast, Northern Ireland, dressed as police officers and entered the homes of 2 bank managers. Their families were held hostage, and the manager was instructed to go to work as normal the next day. When the workday ended, the managers let the thieves into the bank, where they stole about 26.5 million British pounds and additional foreign currency in the bank's biggest bank robbery in Irish history. The case is still unsolved. So far, only one person has been arrested for money laundering. Obviously, that's not a person who was in on the bank robbery. The reason this one struck me is because when I planned a robbery, I planned a major robbery in Miami of about $12 million. Thank God it never happened because it's a hostage situation. But what I did at that robbery, we were going to take the jewelry store manager and take him hostage at his house the night before, keep his family tied up, bring him with dynamite packed on him into the place in the morning, and let us in before the guards or anybody got there. And we were going to clean the place out. Obviously, we didn't do it. Thank God we didn't do it. And you can hear about all that robbery in the book. But there was a lot of similarities there because, you know, that's part of the planning, you know, figuring out how to keep somebody quiet. And we went down to the wire with ours, too. So it can happen. But again, I can't knock them. Another unsolved case. All that loot. You know, if you're going to go big. That's what they say. Number 6, the Brinks mat burglary, stolen $41 million. Britain's most notorious bank heist was an inside job. Hello. On the morning of the heist in 1983, a Brinks mat security guard named Anthony Black led a group of robbers into the company's warehouse at London's Heathrow Airport. They tied up other guards. The crew quickly realized the warehouse held not only a lot of money, but also gold and diamonds. They made off with $41 million in loot and wished the guards a Merry Christmas on the way. Most of the robbers were caught in this case, but the gold remains at large. That is always astounding. Someone got away with a lot of money, and we don't know who he is, and he might have become a legitimate person today, and you'll never know it. That always blows my mind. What got me on this one, obviously, it reminded me of Lufthansa. Lufthansa was a cash bank robbery, and it was portrayed in the movie Goodfellas, and they got $5 million in cash, and it was at Kennedy Airport. Anyway, and that reminded me of that because there is a lot of cash at airports. It goes back and forth. There's a lot gets done there. People have no idea of that, and that was number 6. Number 5, the Banco Central burglary. The robbers posed as landscapers and dug a tunnel to the vault. This one's amazing. Stolen $71.6 million. In 2005, Banco Central burglary in Fortaleza, Brazil, was once recognized by Guinness Book of World Records as the world's greatest bank robbery. To pull it off, a 25-member gang set up a fake landscaping business. They spent 3 months digging a 256-foot tunnel that led up through the bank's vault floor. Once inside, they stole several containers that held 160 million Brazilian real. It's worth 71 million in 2005. And only 8 people were arrested. Just 20 million was recovered. Wow, think about this robbery right here. 25 people. Talk about a shirt. 3 can keep a secret, 2 are dead. Obviously, 8 were arrested, and I'm sure they had to do with telling. I don't know who the others were, if they even were known, because you have a 25-member crew. It's probably just a digging crew, and people got paid, didn't even know what they were doing. Probably a lot of them. I like the fact that only 20 million real was discovered. And I always wonder where that money is. You know, where is that money? Is it buried in somebody's mattress, or who's got it, or what they did with it? That always intrigues me, and I'm going to start looking into that more. But this was a Brazil heist. And what ingenuity and what money somebody had to have put this up. That always intrigues me. You gotta get 25-man crew, all the equipment, pay all these people, do whatever you're gonna do for X amount of months, and hope you get away with it. You gotta have a lot of money to put it up. Somebody's gotta back you, or it's a militia or somebody in Brazil. But wow, 71.7 million. Pretty intriguing going on there. Number 4. The Securities Depot robbery. The elaborate mask eventually gave the robbers away. Stolen, 83 million. As you can see, we're going higher. The largest cash robbery in British history went down in 2006, not that long ago, at a security services company's warehouse in Kent. An inside man filmed the interior of the security depot in preparation. I talk about that in a minute here. Then men clad in elaborate masks kidnapped the branch manager and held his family hostage. The robbers took him to the warehouse and forced him to give them access to the cash cages. The crew stole about 83 million. Despite their clever disguises, some of the robbers were caught, and the makeup artist who designed the mask became the key witness in the case. You know, always something little that gets them. But again, it says some of them, not all of them. At 83 million, it doesn't talk about the recovery. Again, these robberies remind me when I hear about them taking a family hostage or taking a manager hostage, bringing them back. That was part of one of my plans back in the 90s myself. This is an amazing job also. I mean, because I do, you know, I remember I did a video on robbing a cigar store, and I went in with a camera to kind of get an idea of what the layout of the place was. That is always a smart move if you're going to rob something, to know what you're robbing, where to rob it, where things are going to be. You don't want to go in on it's in the corner here, when you don't understand even what corner they mean. So you really need the more, I always said, the more information you have, the better you are. Up to number 3 of the biggest bank robberies of all time. The Knightsbridge security deposit robbery. The thieves burgled safe deposit boxes and made off with millions. Stolen 97 million. Valerio Vescicio, who was already wanted for more than 50 armed robberies in Italy, almost committed the perfect crime in London in 1987. He and his assistant walked into a bank and asked it to rent a safe deposit box. When the men were shown to the vault, they pulled out guns and overpowered the bank manager and guards. After putting a closed sign on the bank door, they let in some friends, broke into as many of the safe deposits as possible, and made off with millions in cash and valuables. Vescici fled to South America, but was eventually arrested when he returned to England to ship his Ferrari to his new home. Go buy a new fucking Ferrari. Forget shipping one. Are you crazy? You know, it's amazing how that happened. It brought back memories, because even back into the 70s, late 70s and early 80s, you know, I went into a safe deposit box area, and a lot of people have never did that now. And you go down in the bank, and a lot of times it's down, or sometimes it's just in a different room. The one where I remember going back when I was younger was down these stairs. It was in Parkchester. There was a bank there in the corner. It was one of those old buildings. And you know, when you go down there, they go with you, and there's one key he has, one key you have. You put them in, you turn, they give you the box, and you go do your thing. So getting into those boxes are a little bit more harder than you think, even for employees. So that's why they do that. And he gets caught by sending his Ferrari. You know, you got 97 million and whatever percentage you got, buy a new Ferrari, huh? I know he's an Italian and loves his sports car, his Ferrari sports car, but come on, man, think about that one. I mean, that blows me away, it really does. Next bank robbery, number 2 on the list. The Dar es Salaam bank heist. The robbers stole, listen to this, 282 million in cash and were never caught. Is this giving me adrenaline? No, not really, but it's amazing. It blows my mind. To this day, few details are known about the 2007 robbery at Dar es Salaam Bank, a private financial institution in Baghdad, Iraq. It's unclear why the bank had so much American cash on hand to steal. Allegedly, the theft was orchestrated by several bank guards. The government suspected the robbers also had contacts within local police and militias that allowed them to pass through the many checkpoints across Baghdad undetected. No further information has been released about the whereabouts of the money or those responsible. $282 million. That, to me, ladies and gentlemen, smells of a government cover-up of some sort. Maybe it's a military person of some sort. Something of that nature. I don't buy it. Some guards got off with $282 million. Do you know how much cash that is and the weight of that cash? Forget about it. It's off the charts. It's a number that's, think about that. I mean, it's blowing my mind away right now thinking about that. Wow, $282 million. Never caught, nobody, man, it just vanished. You know, you do wonder about things when that happens, huh? And you wonder why people don't trust governments and banks and everything else that goes along with this. $282 million. Gone. Wiped out. Whose money was it? Was it bank money? Was it people's money? Was it insured? Who knows? There's a lot of great questions there in my mind. But we're off to the number one bank robbery of all times. And it's the Central Bank of Iraq robbery. Stolen over $920 million. Just read that. Almost $1 billion was robbed. Almost $1 billion. 920 million. Another robbery in Baghdad became the largest bank heist in history. The mastermind was none other than Iraq's dictator, Saddam Hussein. One day before the Iraq War began in 2003, he sent 3 large trucks to the central bank. He also sent his son, Quzay, with a handwritten note asking to withdraw nearly $1 billion to keep it from enemy hands. The money was loaded into vans and driven away. Most of the cash was recovered in the ensuing raids, but it doesn't end here. Tasked with counting the illicit loot, listen to this, this is really wild. American soldiers made off with hundreds of thousands of dollars for themselves and their families. 35 service members were caught. You know, I get that too. You know, service members are not making any money at all, and all of a sudden they're sitting at tables counting $1 billion in cash, millions and millions and millions of dollars in machines, and you don't think they, and it doesn't even say they took away a lot. It says off with hundreds of thousands of dollars. Fuck, give it to them. I really mean that. It meant nothing. It's going other bureaucratic bullshit as it is, and that loot, you know, could have helped a lot of soldiers out. I know, and I guess people got caught up in this or whatever it was, and if it's only 700,000 and 35 service members were caught, they weren't getting a lot of money. I'm telling you, they deserved whatever they stole. What can I tell you? Saddam Hussein doesn't surprise me. That's, again, government theft. I don't know if looking up these, and this is what history has, you know, there's art heists and stuff like that. These are bank heists. I'm going to go into the most heists, like the billions of dollar heists they just had in Germany with the museum. But as far as bank heists, this is what you get. It boggles the mind. It really does, the money. And what really boggled my mind was the people that didn't get caught. And I look at that and say, you know, you plan. You got to plan what you're doing. If you fail the plan will fail, period. So you have to plan for success. They did. Some of them got away with it. And here's the thing. If you got robbing that money in the United States, the money gives you a different level of where you're going to go, what prison you're going to go to. The money does do that because it goes down to guidelines. The more you rob, a little more time. But it gets to a point where whether it's over 5 million or whatever it is, and 10 million, whatever, it's at the high end of the guideline. If you're going to do it all. Non-violent, you're not even going to get much time. Believe it or not, you're not going to be getting the time you think you're going to get. But don't do it. As I always say, you will get caught. Technology today, it's tough. But that's what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, those are your top 10 bank robberies of all time. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please put it up there. If you haven't, please subscribe, pass it around, and click that notification button as well. This way you'll know when our next videos come up. I have fun doing it. I hope you like it. Please comment below because I'll be reading them. Have a great day, everybody. Please stay safe. Make a good choice. Have a great day.